Hey everybody, welcome back to Jay's Fifth Down the NFL podcast. I'm your host, Jay and Gay. And today on the podcast, we're going to be recapping week 9 of the 2021 NFL season. Lots to unfold, a lot of interesting things going on around the league right now. But before we get to that, I want to ask you guys to please like and subscribe and comment, please, and tell your friends to subscribe as well. Post here every week, every Wednesday. So just please make sure you do that. That would really help. First off, I just want to talk about week 9 here in the NFL season. A lot to unpack and uncover. A lot of interesting wins, a lot of close games, a lot of tight races in the playoff race right now. So just to start off with, we're going to go with the Jets and the Colts. That was on Thursday Night Football. Colts won that game 45-30. Then you had the Raiders and Giants. Giants pulled out the win 23-16. Then you had the Falcons in New Orleans in a thriller. Saints lost that one at home against Atlanta. Atlanta led 24-6 1 point. Saints came back from down 18 points. And then, the Falcons held them off. Ryan hit Patterson down the sideline for a 64-yard game with a minute and 1 second left. And Younghoe Koo nailed the game winner for Atlanta. So they won that game. Then you had the Bills and the Jaguars. The Jaguars won. Yeah, I know, right? The Jaguars won this game 9-6. And it just was obviously a low-scoring game. Not a lot of offensive firepower like we normally see out of the Bills. Jacksonville was doing a pretty decent job on defense. Josh Allen on the Jaguars had an amazing game. He had an interception, I think a sack against Josh Allen of the Bills as well. So that was interesting to see the two guys with the same name play against each other, and that was pretty fun to watch. Then you had the Browns and the Bengals. Browns took that 41-16. Just not a good day overall for the Bengals. Joe Burrow he was struggling a little bit against that Browns defense. You had the Patriots taking the win over the Panthers 24-6. And the Broncos stunned Dallas on Sunday. Came in and won 30-16. One of the hardest places to play in the NFL in AT&T Stadium. They took that win. They moved to 5-4 on the year. So and Dallas will move to 6-2 on the year. So interesting game right there. And then you had the Dolphins and the Texans, a battle of two 1-7 teams going at it. Dolphins took that win 17-9. You had the Packers and Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Chiefs took that 13-7. Again, another low-scoring game. Patrick Mahomes is still trying to find his footing, this year. And Kansas City, that offense still trying to find its normal footing. See guys, we're all used to seeing Kansas City just blow everybody out, right? Just throwing it all over the field, man. Throwing it deep to Tyreek and, just blowing people out, right? But that's not the case for Kansas City this year. So it's interesting to see that, and how they move forward throughout the year. Obviously you had the Bears and the Steelers on Monday Night Football. This was a game, the officiating was not as good, but moving on, the Steelers won that game 29-27. The Cardinals beat the 49ers 31-17, and you had the Chargers and the Eagles going at it. Chargers took that battle 27-24. And then you had the Vikings and the Ravens in the overtime thriller in Baltimore. And the Ravens got it barely, by Justin Tucker field goal, 34-31. Another thing I'm noticing this year is there's a lot of close games this year. There's been a lot of close games this year, I think more than there's ever been. There's been a lot of game-winning kicks and a lot of field goal kickers, missing kicks, just a lot of things like that going on. So interesting to see. But the main things I want to address here in tonight's podcast, Odell Beckham obviously was released by the Browns a couple days ago, and he went on waivers officially yesterday. So now he's free to sign with any team he wants. So it's, from what I'm hearing, it's coming down to three teams. It's coming down to the Saints, the Chiefs, and the Packers. So realistically, you might think Odell would probably go to the Saints, right? Went to LSU, so that might be. Then again, you got to think about, he's in a situation where he wants to win now. He wants to go to a contender and win now. And, the Saints are – I don't really deem the Saints a true contender yet because, obviously they still have a lot of holes that they've got right now, especially in the wide receiver room. So just interesting things going on with them. And then obviously the Chiefs still trying to find their footing offensively. And then the Packers as well. I think that could be an interesting fit for Odell. So it's just a matter of when it'll happen and who he'll sign with. But if you want my honest opinion, guys, I think he's honestly going to sign with. Honestly, I think he's just going to go to New Orleans because obviously, he went to LSU and he knows Sean Payton really well. They have a good relationship, and I'm sure that's going to play a role into it. And you obviously got guys like Alvin Kamara and those dudes recruiting him over there. So I think he's going to New Orleans. You heard it here first. Then more NFL news just to get to, guys. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, obviously he was out of his last game against the Chiefs with COVID. He's on the COVID and reserves list. They found out he was unvaccinated and he lied about his vaccination status. So the NFL will be fining him and the Packers for over $14,000. Things like that. Like, I don't get it, man. But anyway, so Jordan Love made his first start for Green Bay on Sunday against Kansas City, and he didn't do bad. Threw a touchdown, had over 100 yards passing. He looked pretty decent, for the most part. Just obviously when you're thrown into your first game like that in the NFL, you're gonna have the jitters. That's with any game. So it's your first game like that, and Jordan Love had not had any playing time in the regular season up until that point. So, can't dog him at all, really. He played decently, kept the Packers in the game, and held the Chiefs to only 13 points, which is something that's hasn't been done in a long time, especially with the team being led by Patrick Mahomes and just that crazy offense, which is still, again, like I mentioned, trying to find its footing and trying to get back to the old Kansas City. We know that was just throwing it all over the place and, making plays and, just making defensive coordinators just pull their hair out. So, again, a lot, great week, and again, a lot of upsets too as well. Obviously the Broncos, again, going into Dallas and beating the Cowboys. That was a very interesting game to watch. Dallas just really couldn't stop anything defensively. Denver came in. Javonte Williams, rookie running back for the Broncos, had a great day on the ground. He did really well. He had 111 yards rushing on 17 carries. Didn't have a touchdown, but Melvin Gordon was right behind him with 21 carries, 80 yards. Just a struggle for Dallas trying to defend against the run on Sunday and the pass as well, as Bridgewater had over 200 yards passing in that game and went for a touchdown too. So, again, a very interesting week here, week 9 in the NFL season. Just also wanted to recap, guys, that this season, a big emphasis in the league has been taunting and those things like that. And and it's really it's a penalty that's really cost a lot of teams actually some games this year because penalties, as we all know, are drive killers. You're first and goal and on the 5-yard line, and then you hold your offensive lineman holds and you move back. Those are drive killers. Or it's you just hit somebody for a touchdown, but it's getting called back because of an offensive pass interference or something like that. So obviously we all know the flags are drive killers, and those are things that coaches preach. Like, okay, we can't. If we have penalties, we're not going to win games. I think to win football games, you have to do 3 things. You can't turn the football over, you can't have stupid penalties, and you can't give up big plays. In NFL, that's really hard to do, especially with how good all these offenses are, not to give up the big plays. But if you can limit the big plays, and then play fundamental football and not turn the ball over, most of the time you win football games. And I think that's really the formula with how every coach wants their team to play right now. So, that's just something to keep an eye on as well as we move out throughout the year, how big of an impact these penalties have on the game. But again, overall, I think just moving forward with these teams right here, it's going to be a tight race right now in the league. This might be the most open I've ever seen the playoff race in the NFL in a while. And I say that because now we all know who your locks are for the playoffs. Like Tampa Bay is a lock. The Packers pretty much are a lock. The Rams are a lock, even though after Sunday night's performance against the Titans, it wasn't that good. So it's just interesting to keep an eye on the Rams. But overall, you know your locks are Tampa Bay, the Los Angeles Rams, and out the AFC, it's honestly out the AFC, it's a tight race. In the AFC North, you got the Ravens, Steelers, all of them. I think they're all at 5-4 or something like that. So this is the tightest I've seen the NFL in a long time. As far as all the records and everybody just racing, as far as getting into the playoffs in January and everything like that. So it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds as we progress throughout the season. Honestly, I just didn't like. I never would have seen or thought of a time where the Chiefs would be 4-4 or 5-4, whichever one it is, I think. But teams that were pretty much dominating a couple years ago, and now they're struggling this year. So obviously that's other teams getting better and knowing their personnel and drafting the right guys and bringing in the right pieces to combat these other teams as well. So you got to factor that into it as well. So just interesting things I'm thinking about, and I think as we move on throughout the season, it's going to get tighter and tighter. And it'll be fascinating to see how Tampa Bay continues their season. Because obviously they sit at 6-2 right now, tied with Dallas at the top of the NFC. So it's just very. I think it's just going to be great. I just think it's going to be a great season this year. I think 2021 is this is going to be better, obviously, than last year. It's going to bring us a lot more excitement as it has these first 9 weeks. So that was just pretty much the recap of Week 9, and my thoughts obviously on that, and with the whole Odell situation and Green Bay Packers as well. By the way, the Packers. The Green Bay Packers will take on the Vikings on Sunday in Minnesota. So that's be an NFC North matchup right there. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers will be back for that game or not. I'm assuming not. So Jordan Love will be making his second start. So we'll see how he does against that Minnesota defense. But here are going to be my predictions for Week 10 here. I got the Ravens and Dolphins in Miami. Got Baltimore taking this one. I just don't think Miami has enough for Lamar Jackson in that offense. And Marquise Brown is really coming out, too, as a really great football player. So I don't think the Dolphins get that win. So I got Ravens winning 34-17. And then Saints and Titans, I got this is going to be a good matchup, I think, because obviously New Orleans is going to look to bounce back after losing to Atlanta on Sunday. And the Titans, just pretty much dominating the Rams on Sunday night. Also, so it'll be interesting to see how these two fare against each other. Now, Derrick Henry obviously won't be back until if he does come back this season later in the season before the playoffs possibly, or during the playoffs when he'll be back. So this game is going to rely heavily on Ryan Tannehill because the Saints they're going to key the pass. So I think the key for the Titans to get the win here is for Ryan Tannehill to have a good day. Just take the intermediate throws, take what the defense gives you, and just play smart football like you've always been doing. Play smart football, get the ball down the field, try to eat up as much clock as possible, just have those good, long, sustained drives, and just play good, smart football. And then obviously, when they do run the ball, Adrian Peterson, he signed with Tennessee last week, so he'll probably get in the bulk load of the carries there and just get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. Julio Jones, former Falcon, A.J. Brown, standout receiver from Ole Miss, came in the league in 2019, and, just get the ball in the hands of your playmakers and let them do their thing. So that's my key for the Titans getting that win over the Saints. And for the Saints, just do what you've been doing and try not to, let a team come back and beat you. And then for, Bills and the Jets, I got the Bills winning this one. I think they bounced back after a not-so-good performance against Jacksonville. And the Lions and Steelers got the Steelers coming away with this one, after beating Chicago on Monday Night Football. And Jaguars and the Colts. I got Indianapolis winning this one. I think, Carson Wentz will have a great game here, and the Colts will get the win. And then obviously the Buccaneers will come back from the bye week against the Washington football team. So, Washington has a decent defense. Remember these two teams played in the playoffs last year. So, they kind of know each other, and, Washington knows what to do really against the Bucs and how to play them, because if you guys remember, it was a close game in the playoffs last year between those two teams. So interested to see how they'll come out. Then you got the Browns and Patriots playing on Sunday as well. So that'll be a good game. Mac Jones, Baker Mayfield. I think the running game is really going to be what wins the game for either one of these teams here. And then obviously also you got Atlanta and Dallas playing. So Cowboys coming off a loss, as I mentioned earlier, against Denver, and Atlanta coming off a close win against the New Orleans Saints. So that would be an interesting game right there. Dan Quinn, the former Falcons head coach, now defense coordinator in Dallas, going off against his old team. This will be fun football to watch. Also, you got the Panthers and Cardinals taking on each other. Sam Darnold will not be in for this game, so P.J. Walker will get the start, and Kyler Murray is hoping to play Sunday. Word is he's trying to play on Sunday. He had to deal with the ankle, so he was out last game. So I think the Cardinals are going to get the win here. I just don't think the Panthers are going to be able to move the ball efficiently without Sam Darnold and those guys. So you got the Seahawks and Packers. I think I don't know if Russell Wilson's coming back for this game or not. I assume so. But if Russell Wilson comes back, I do think the Seahawks will get this win here just because Jordan Love is a little bit inexperienced and he hasn't really played in that many NFL games. He's only played one, and he lost that game to Kansas City. So I think the Packers are going to put up a fight, but I think the Seahawks are going to win this game. And then your last three games, you got Chiefs and Raiders on Sunday Night Football and the Rams and 49ers on Monday Night Football as well. And then you have the Eagles and Broncos in the late window on Sunday afternoon. So this is a great slate of games here week 10. And obviously I think, some of these teams are still trying to figure out their footing and trying to learn their personnel and their players. A lot of them have new head coaches as well. They're trying to figure out what they can do best and what they can't do best and all these type of things. And that's always a struggle. And guys, I mean, you can't expect like these rookies and, the rookie players and these rookie head coaches to come in and just automatically start winning games. And that's not realistic. It takes time for these things to happen, and that's why, and people expected Justin Fields to come in and just be this amazing rookie and tear up the league, right? Him and Trevor Lawrence. And they're both struggling a little bit, because obviously you can't expect anybody to just come in the NFL and just light it up immediately. I mean, guys, Patrick Mahomes, he didn't start until his second year in the NFL. Remember, he sat his first year behind Alex Smith, and then his next year, he tore it up and, lost to the Patriots, of course, in the playoffs, and then they won the Super Bowl the next year. And, so just you got to give things like this time. You got to give, these players time and these new head coaches time to learn their roster and their players and what they can do offensively and what they can't do offensively, what they can do defensively and what they can't do defensively as well. So those are just some key points I want to make here in the podcast tonight. But again, overall, a great week of football again in the 2021 season. We got 8 more games to go, guys. Remember it's a 17-game season. So it's honestly it feels like it's going to be a longer season than normal, even though it's only a one game more. But I know for the players, obviously, it feels longer because they've been at it since March and OTAs and everything like that. So just another interesting thing right there. But thank you guys for tuning in on the podcast. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please comment, subscribe, like this video, and you guys can catch me next week on Jay's Fifth Down. I've been your host, Jaden Gay. Thank you, guys.